Tonight I wanted to consider the question which we should ask ourselves, I think, on a frequent basis. What is the purpose of our meditation practice? Why do we do this? Do you have an answer?
Yes, I think.
He's sticking his neck out, you know.
I think to experience and practice concentration and mindfulness at the beginning, and we all in the beginning, we need תנאי מעבדה,
laboratory
like
conditions.
sterile surrounding, nothing to disturb. And slowly we can use the things that we learn in this laboratory in the real life.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
What's the purpose of our meditation practice? Anyone else have any idea to justify why you're spending a lot of time sitting quietly?
It also changes over time. Like for many people, myself included, an initial interest is like is a tool to lessen stress and anxiety, to feel better, maybe to experience some blissful things. And then over time you get into this project, as Jonathan described, developing your ability to be mindful and more concentrated. And like another metaphor beside the laboratory is that of a gym. There are certain muscles that require initially very dedicated attention to be able to maintain them in your daily life. And then there's the whole more Zen approach. It's the practice itself as the goal. I'm kind of more recently trying to wrap my head around that.
Yeah, you said a lot. I mean, the reasons there's like, a real common lay approach that most people have. And the lay approach is, I want to be a better person. I want to improve my quality of life. And every reason we can come up with is valid and also completely limited at the same time. So like we can accept that, but we have to accept it as, just one facet, and to not satisfy ourselves with that. So, yeah, we want to improve ourselves, and there's a sort of one school, more the Theravada school. There's a lot of crap we got to get rid of. The problematic thoughts we have, the judgments, the anger, the impatience, all sorts of personal qualities that we feel are not really serving us well or serving others well. So just getting rid of those. And then there's a Mahayana approach, which is wanting not to get rid of things, but wanting to realize the sort of natural beauty and purity of the human mind. And both of those are really valid reasons for doing a deep practice and being committed to it. It's a lot of baggage I need to kind of drop, and mental habits that are problematic, cause me and others suffering. And there's a clarity and beauty and peace that I've touched and I want to realize fully. The Buddha nature is called. Yeah. To be motivated by these goals is to fall into a trap. And that's a problem. So the subtle challenge that we have is to maintain motivation with non-attachment to that motivation. To let go of that motivation. And that's the real middle way, between saying, I'm just, being here and now, and that's enough. Well, that's being stuck. And being driven to a goal that seems so far away from what we are right now that we'll never get there. And so that middle way, I think, is something that is worth exploring. Does anyone else have something to say?
Just adding, I think, based on what you were just saying right now, I also see that as part of that healing process of our stuff, of that ego, that attachment. That, for me, that's definitely something very driven by goals. And then there's kind of this clenching, I need to get there, I need to do this goal. So being able to, somehow hold on to that, but be flexible with that, kind of let that go, to me is also part of that healing that crap that you spoke about. And I also that's definitely some kind of realization I had over also this past summer, in terms of the way of healing, which I believe more, and this is pretty much like what you said, that it's a two-way step, in terms of, on the one hand, it's developing that Buddha self, the self, and tapping into that awareness and that purity and that vastness of self. And then on the other hand, it's letting go of all that ego and crap and parts and things that kind of get in the way. It's that dual process, and they help each other out. Because the more we heal the crap, the more we could be more in self, and the more we're in self, the more we could use that to heal. So that's also how I see it. At the same time, not holding on to that.
Yeah. Yeah, very true. And that sense of needing to accept all of that without the acceptance is the letting go at the same time. Strangely. You accept that your difficulties are here, and you accept that the purity is here. And there's letting go of both the purity and the difficulties. See, that type of purity that we want to realize, or the vastness, as you said rightly, is the vastness of mind, but not my mind. So accepting that that's the reality, that's the reality, that's my reality, but it's not my mind, it's not my thoughts. You know, that's really that's a big step to open to a truth that is not yours. I mean, not your personality, not your personal, not yourself. Then how do I aspire for that? We use the self as a tool, and then it's okay. So making that kind of shift in our perspective, that your personality, your thoughts, your emotions, and even that crap that we're dealing with is okay as long as I see it as part of the tool and the raw materials that I'm using in order to realize this greatness. Then even the difficulties are not something you need to get rid of. Because we now learn how to, or we train how to use them skillfully. Like, for instance, anger is an energy. Can we embrace that energy and let go of the anger? That's seeing that as a tool that can be used and not just suppressed. So it's starting to see our whole lives as a type of raw ingredients that we have to cook with. How do I use this ingredient? Like, it's a raw onion, it's a hot chili pepper. It's like, how do I use this? Well, some things need slow cooking. And that's the patience of our practice, is that it may take a while to cook some of the really tough, to soften some of the really tough things. And until it's become soft, it's and tasty, it's going to be hard and bitter. but that and it may be, we may be cooking with it for a while, right? There are a lot of metaphors we can use in our practice that can help us, and part of this is because we can't point to the nature of our minds and the nature of our practice directly. We have to point to it when I ask her, like, what is the purpose? We're all kind of approaching it, but not really getting it, And that's as much as we can do. We can sort of point towards it, and sometimes more clearly, more vaguely, but realizing that we're never really fully understanding what we're doing. Right? Because if we were, then that would just be another interesting thought. That we might become attached to and say, yeah, I got it. I understand. Right? I must have gone up a level. And that just becomes part of our sense of self. Like somebody who's spiritual and understanding what I'm doing here. Right? I wanted to share a couple of quotes about what the heck we're doing from some of the teachers, because they may help us understand a little bit, or not understand what is practice. I'll start with Suzuki Roshi. Zazen, which is meditation, Zen meditation, is a direct expression of our nature. And strictly speaking, for a human, there's no other practice than this practice. These forms are not means of obtaining the right state of mind. I want to say that again. These forms, meaning our posture and our zazen, are not means of obtaining the right state of mind. To take this posture is itself to have the right state of mind. There's no need to obtain some special state of mind. We say our practice should be without gaining ideas, without expectations, even of enlightenment. That does not mean, however, just to sit without any purpose. For the beginner, practice requires great effort. He says, especially for young people. It is necessary to try very hard, sometimes to achieve something. Form is form. You must be true to this way until at last you actually come to the point where you see it is necessary to forget about yourself. If you make your best effort to continue with your practice, with your whole body and mind, without any gaining ideas, then whatever you do will be true practice. Just to continue should be your purpose. When you do something, just do it. Just to do it should be your purpose. This is what you were mentioning, and it's describing what it means to be present. To be present is not just being calm and relaxed in this moment. To be present can be putting your full effort and attention into this activity. I'll put my heart and soul into it. That makes it a practice. That I'm actually really trying hard to do what's needed here. And it says it pervades all your activities. So that trying hard means, I got to put effort into paying attention to breathing and keeping still, having the right posture, without the stress that it needs to achieve something. But there is a stress that I need to do this. I need to put effort into this. I can let go of the stress of it needing to have some result. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't put full effort into doing this activity. That's the effort he's talking about here. Is you fully commit yourself to completely achieving whatever activity you're doing as an end in itself. That's great effort. Right? That's not just like, I'm here now, present. What does that mean? If you are at work, whether you like it or don't, your practice is to put your full effort in that. If you are at home and you're making your bed, your practice is to put your full effort into that. If you're folding laundry, you should be fully folding laundry. And it should be a full effort as a complete practice in itself. And that's for all the activities we can think of and all the efforts, physical and mental. That's the way he's describing here. That's why he says it's a, strictly speaking, for a human being, there's no other practice than this practice. There's no other way of life than this way of life. It's a full commitment to the form. And in that form, there's a realization of emptiness. Emptiness of my own greed. That's what we're emptying out. In the Heart Sutra, when we say form is emptiness and emptiness is form, that comes from a full commitment to the form. You commit yourself to completing that form, then, it's become empty of your extra desires to get something out of it. That's what the emptiness is. It doesn't mean the form doesn't exist. It means it exists without me. Right? That's the emptiness. I've emptied myself of wanting to get anything extra out of this experience, apart from what it is right now. And if I'm paying attention, then that's enough. wanting more is delusion and greed and selfish. Full commitment to this form is liberating. It means it's enough. And that's why this practice is a way of life. If we can fully be, like in this laboratory, be here and now with this sitting and not want anything more out of it, so too we can bring that commitment to forms in all of their varying appearances when we're outside of the meditation hall. And that, as he says, is, there's no other practice in this practice. The forms will change, as they will in a couple minutes. But the practice will remain the same. So I'll give you one last quote from one of my favorite Theravada writers, Bhante Gunarantana, a Sri Lankan monk who wrote Mindfulness in Plain English. And this is like from the first chapter. Meditation takes gumption. Gumption is a strange word. Gumption means like you are kind of dedicated. Takes a bit of dedication. It's certainly a great deal easier to sit back and watch television. So why bother? Why waste all the time and effort when you could simply be out enjoying yourself? Why? Simple. Because you are human. Just because of the simple fact that you are human, you find yourself heir to an inherent unsatisfactoriness in life that simply will not go away. You can suppress it from your awareness. You can distract yourself for hours on end, but it will always come back. And usually when you least expect it. There you are, and you suddenly realize you are spending your life just getting by. You are a mess, and you know it. You hide it beautifully. You keep up a good front. Meanwhile, under all of that, you know that there has to be some other way to live, a better way to look at the world, a way to touch life more fully. It is a level of functioning where the mind doesn't try to freeze time, doesn't try to grasp onto experience as it flows by, and does not try to block out things or ignore them. It is a level of experience beyond good or bad, beyond pleasure or pain, and it is a learnable skill. I find that really, I could return to that on a daily basis and still try to, open fully to that. We are the heirs as a human. Our birthright as human beings is an inherent unsatisfactoriness in life as it is experienced. It's never good enough. And even when it is, that slips away and we regret losing what seemed good enough. But this practice is a learnable skill. It's not magic. It takes dedication, as he said, gumption. And as Suzuki Roshi said, it takes great effort. Great effort. And so yes, we can be relaxed and calm, and we can feel more peaceful at times. But that's certainly not the point of meditation. That's sometimes a nice side effect. But when we fully open to and accept that unsatisfactoriness in life, then we might start gaining some deeper insight as to what it means to be here. And that insight allows us to let go. Not letting go is realizing emptiness of self. So we can maybe just start by perhaps watching less TV and sitting more. And then, or whatever our favorite distractions are, and we can face reality.